the championship season of '69. I think every kid who's my age, 58 years of age plus VAT, will remember that championship year. That was of course the old ground at Sophia Gardens there, which was nothing like this. But and I remember players like Majid Khan and Brian Davis, and Tony Lewis was captain, of course Peter Walker, that great side that won the championship, and I was just hooked then. But I became a member in 1993. Glamorgan had this £15 membership, and everybody joined up. We had more members than Lancashire. I think we had about 20,000 members, and of course that was the year they won the one-day league, as it was, the AXA 40 over league, by beating Kent and Canterbury. We had Viv Richards playing, and that was our first trophy since '69. So that's when I first joined as a member, and I've kept going ever since, because it's such good value, you know. And if you love your cricket, it's one of the best bits of money you can spend. If you look at the homegrown players, Hugh Morris was fantastic. I think he scored, I remember one season, I can't remember the actual year, but he scored something like 2,200 runs in a season. I think it's still a record for county runs in a season with Glamorgan. Then you had Matthew Maynard, of course, Robert Croft, Steve Watkin. That team of the sort of the mid to the late 90s, and they were mostly Welsh, you know. Adrian Dale, I remember. Steve James, who was from Lydney, but was an adopted Welshman. Of course, quite a few of them went on to play Test cricket. But we also had like Celt heroes like Waka Yunus, you know, when he came from Pakistan. We had a Dutchman called Roland Lefebvre that some people will remember, and he was a bit of a cult hero. You know, Steve Barwick, Bazza, who had a type of delivery named after him in the end, a Bazza delivery. You know, this fizzing through the air, off cut or whatever it was. But they were so relatable too, you know, because even in those days, even the overseas players, say your Majid Khans and your Javed Miandads, they'd come for 5 or 6 seasons on the trot, and they became, well, the old saying we used to chant in the old grounds, Wacker is a Welshman. So all those players, you know. Got a waggy because he never gives up. What is he about? He's 30 odd now, 30, 34, 35. Never gives up. Always something happening when he's there with the bat or ball. Of course, Marnus Labuschagne, brilliant to get him again for 2. I mean, talking about the benefits of membership. What a thing to be able to watch him for the next 2 seasons. One of the best Test players in the world. So there's him. Chris Cook has become a bit of a Welshman, isn't he? And the young players coming through, you know, your Kieran Carlsons and so on, your Dan Delthwaite, who's another adopted Welshman because he went to the college, he went to Cardiff Met. So all those players really, and it's a chance for those players to cement their own bit of history with Glamorgan, because when you play for Glamorgan, I think Crofty said, didn't he? He said, play for England is like playing for the Lions, but playing for Glamorgan is like playing for Wales, because it does represent more than just the county of Glamorgan, the county boundary of Glamorgan. And the fact that they played Colwyn Bay, you know, they played Abergavenny, Aberystwyth, Merthyr, all these places. It's a bit more than just a county boundary, I think, Glamorgan. It's a bit of a, it's more than that. It's Wales and Welsh. Oh, brilliant! I went to the Gloucestershire game last year at Newport. I thought the Knight brothers and all the Newport people did a fantastic job. It was lovely to see that ground. Hosting county cricket. The ground looked beautiful. I thought I actually played on that ground not long after it was open many years ago, and to see how the ground has matured with the trees and everything is fantastic. Obviously Colwyn Bay is a big one because it's usually the Lancashire fixture. It won't be this year obviously, but again that's a different feel. It's a club ground. Swansea, well, that's an iconic ground, isn't it, Swansea? And when I go to St Helens if I cover a rugby match there in the winter, it looks a little bit tired and dilapidated. But when Glamorgan go there in the summer and the sun is out and there's a few white chairs around and a good crowd in, it does take you back to the old magic of how that ground used to be, and the long walk down from the pavilion, down the steps out to bat. So it's great, and I think it's a really good move to take the team around the grounds of Wales, because as I say, it represents more than Glamorgan, you know, it represents more than a county boundary. It's part of Wales. I don't know, I just think growing up in Ely as a kid, we played football out in the street in the winter, and we played cricket out the street in the summer, 20 aside, a dustbin for wickets, or somebody's front gate for wickets, and you just, I don't know, it just gets assimilated into you, really, I think. And of course in those days there were not so many options for a kid to do. It was either cricket and athletics in the winter, or perhaps a bit of baseball if you lived in Cardiff or Newport, and football or rugby in the winter, you know. So you just I don't know how I got into it. You just sort of grew up as being assimilated into it, you know. And I joined a local cricket club called Suburbians in the Cardiff Midweek League when I was about 16, and that was when I first played sort of organised cricket. And then I played for Wenvo later on when I was about 17. Played for Wenvo till I was about 30 odd, and then St Fagans. So played a lot of club cricket. You know, I think cricket as a game as well there's nothing quite like it. Rugby was great. You know, I played quite a high level of rugby. But cricket, there's nothing quite like, because you're on the field for so long, you know, and there's so many different elements of the game, and there's so much to talk about in the bar afterwards, and characters, and you can play. Cricket is one of the few games where you can have an 11-year-old and a 70-year-old in the same team, and all the different dynamics is just wonderful. I sort of still miss playing in a way. Oh, good. Malcolm Nash, the late great Malcolm Nash, of course, you know. Always doing something with the ball. You know, I think his best figures, did he take 8 or 9 for in a county match? Of course, we all remember him for the 6-6s. He was a fantastic player, and he had a bit of the old school about him, because he'd come off the field and he could bat as well. I think he scored a couple of first-class hundreds. He could whack it a bit, and he'd come off then and he'd light up a fag, you know, and you could see him at St Helens with a fag. People like that. Alan Jones, of course, was the Glamorgan legend. Always, whenever you came to see Alan Jones, always seemed to get runs. Looking back now as a kid, Tony Caudle, I think he was from Barbados, one of the Caudle family, a famous Cardiff West Indian family. Always good for a few wickets, and he could whack it, you know. Oh yeah, all those players. Ivan Jones, the wicket keeper. Colin Metz, another brilliant wicket keeper. Probably one of the best wicket keepers of his time, but perhaps didn't get into the England side because of his batting. All those players. It's funny, looking back, you can still virtually remember the batting lineups and the bowling lineups, and not just of Glamorgan, but of the other counties. You know, because teams in those days used to be so set. You know, and a county would have the same sort of 11 players playing for 2 or 3 seasons. You know, you just got to know them, which is not so much the case now, of course. If you'd told me when I was a kid that I would have, by the time I was in my 50s, I would have seen 2 test matches here, 2 Ashes test matches, I'd have laughed, you know. If you'd have said I'd have seen one-day internationals here, England, Australia, England, New Zealand, West Indies, New Zealand, you'd have just laughed, because Sophia Gardens was a lovely ground, the old Sophia Gardens, and I use the word ground rather than stadium. This is a stadium now. The old ground was lovely. It had its charms and everything, and the Cardiff Athletic Club was over there. You could go for a pint and whatever, you could walk around, but this is a different, it's a completely different animal, you know. When this went up, how old is this guy now? 12, 15 years old? It's just incredible for Cardiff. When that Ashes was on, I followed it, watching one of the days on Sky Television, and they showed an overhead shot from a blimp up above, and it was shot from sort of like the Pontcanner end, and it showed the ground, and it showed the River Taff and the castle, and looking over to Cardiff Bay, and I thought, wow, this is my home city. I'm born and bred Cardiffian. If you're watching this programme in Australia or New Zealand or Canada or wherever you are around the world, you'll be looking at it and thinking, wow, what a fantastic venue Cardiff is as a sporting venue, but also this place. So it's amazing. It's amazing. And yet when the trees are in full bloom in the summer, you can still feel a touch of Sophia Gardens about it. The river, you know, the river walkway is still but it's a £5, except you can't creep in under the fence to save yourself £1.80, like we used to do as kids, until Will Fuller will catch you. I mean, I just renewed now, £150 on the early bird, 39 days of cricket. If you divide that, that's got to be one of the best values for money of any sport, anywhere in the world, you know. What I love about the membership as well is, if I've got something, say I'm working in the morning, but I'm free from about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, because I've got the membership, I'll come down and watch perhaps 2 hours of cricket, because I've got the membership, whereas if you had to pay on the gate for 2 hours of cricket, you probably wouldn't bother, you know. But that's what I love about the membership. It gives me entry to all the games, anytime I want to come. And this season, of course, with signing Marnus Labuschagne back, one of the best Test cricketers in the world, on a 2-year deal. That is fantastic. We've got Matthew Maynard, who's an absolute club legend as a coach, on a 3-year deal, which is fantastic. You've got the young players coming through, and some fantastic fixtures. You know, I love the summer of the cricket season when it comes to about the end of March, and you know, even the sort of the warm-up friendlies. I'll probably find myself walking in for a few hours just to smell the grass and to hear that sound of the ball and whatever. And other little things as well, like you know, getting discount in the, if you come down for if you fancy a bit of lunch, you get discount. You know, discount on your food and drinks. If you fancy a beer, you get discount. If you fancy going around the pub around the corner, you get a bit of discount. You know, they're all little, lovely little sort of add-ons. And even going to where Glamorgan played at Lord's last year, being a Glamorgan member, if you take your membership card to Lord's when Glamorgan played, you can go in the pavilion at Lord's, which is fantastic. All little things that you don't really think of when you buy your membership. You think you're just buying your membership to watch the cricket, which you are, but all these other little things. And of course, there's no, I've got my membership card on me now in my wallet. There's also, it's I don't know, it's a feeling of belonging, you know. I'm proud to say I'm a member of Glamorgan. I've been a member of Glamorgan since '93. It's just a sort of, and even if I for some reason I was busy or whatever, or I was away for a lot of the summer and I didn't get to watch much cricket, I'm still a member of Glamorgan. It's still something to, I don't know, to be proud of, really.